We'll never create our best work if we're trying to impress people we don't even care about. Somewhere along the way, most of us fall into that trap without even realizing it. We start out making things just because we love making them, but slowly, things change. We start asking, will this perform? Will the algorithm like it? Would whatever creator we look up to like it? And before we know it, our work doesn't even feel like ours anymore. This isn't about going viral or pleasing some algorithm. This is about finding your way back to making things that actually feel like you, back to the kind of work that you can stand behind and be proud of. I've been there, and I know how easy it is to get stuck. So today, I want to talk about how to get unstuck. In this video, I want to talk about how we got here, why it's killing our creativity, and most importantly, how to strip all that away so you can actually start making work that feels like yours again. So last week I posted on Instagram something along the lines of, you'll never create your best work if you're always trying to impress people that you don't like or you don't care about, or something along those lines. And I got a lot of people replying to it saying that they agreed or like they felt a similar way. And so I thought that that idea or that thought deserved its own full video, or at least deserved some more attention, because I realized that it's a problem that most creatives, creators especially, struggle with. And that is that their work begins to inevitably not feel like their own. In this digital age, with creatives having an insane opportunity to actually make a living and create a career out of their creative skills and their passions, we inevitably hit a point where we have to begin balancing the business of it and the creative side of it. I've always viewed myself personally as someone who's like pretty equally business minded and creatively minded. However, that battle kind of continues inevitably once you begin to actually make money from it. And this video isn't about making money online, more so around the idea of creating things for the right reason and creating things for ourselves, and actually getting back to the point where we are creating work that feels like us and aligns with what we want to do. I remember a couple years ago, I had a pretty pivotal shift, so to speak, in what I was creating, and sort of had like a midlife crisis about my creativity and content as a whole. I had gotten to a point where I had gotten into making content consistently because, frankly, I just enjoyed making content. My camera's gonna die. Shit, brother. Anyways, I'd gotten to a point with my content where I realized that everything I was creating came with a contingency of, is this going to perform for my business? Is this something that this creator could make? And I realized that it all sort of stemmed from me wanting somebody else's dream without realizing it. What do I mean by that? As a creative, we will oftentimes see what we deem as successful creatives online, living a life that we are working towards in some fashion, right? Let's say you're a brand new freelance designer. You might see or follow or look up to a designer online that makes content around their career, and maybe they get to work with really big brands like Coca-Cola and Nike or whatever. We see those people, and rather than feel inspired in a way that is motivating and encourages us to chase our own dreams and create things that we want to make and just be more consistent with our craft, we accidentally see it as what we should do, as in we should make what they make or strive to create and have what they have, and want to create the things that they're creating. And don't get me wrong, this can be a great launch pad if you're completely new. When I first started, I got started in the Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat era, and every video I made just looked like a Casey Neistat ripoff video, but 10 times worse than his. But what that allowed me to do was at least start creating and have something to work towards and have something to improve upon, and just build the passion that I now have. However, it gets to a point where like that is outweighed by the negative impact that that has of trying to do something simply because someone we see online is doing it. Which then brings us to the problem that this video is around, and that is making work that does not feel like our work anymore, and making things simply to impress people that we don't care about or we don't even know. Like if you think about it, like when we make a video on Instagram, we're essentially like putting a video out there hoping a bunch of people we don't know or will never know or ever meet or interact with like it. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but anyways, essentially the moment that your work becomes something that is simply a tool to go viral or please the algorithm or please someone else is the moment it stops becoming yours. Now, I am not some woohoo artist, no offense if you are, but I would prefer personally not to be the broke creative or like the struggling creative. Like I would love to make art and create things that I'm proud of and love while also making a living from it, which is entirely possible regardless of what people might think or tell you. It is possible, but you need to reframe what you are doing in order to do that. Like if you want to actually make a living from telling stories how you want to tell them, or at least just be happy with telling stories and creating things and whatnot that people also resonate with, you have to first reframe what that means and like the intention behind what you're doing. In my opinion, great art or great content is something that people can connect to beyond just like surface level things, right? Like when it comes to a video, maybe what the messaging in the story is something that that viewer truly connects to and feels related to or feels heard. To me, I view it as my work and my content and my brand and my messaging, everything that I say, do, and create is like my beliefs. Like it's things that I am not willing to, fold or bend on, whatever. But it's also a voice that my viewers or my fans or my followers want to say themselves, right? So when I talk about being the person that's thinking different and taking an alternate route, against what everyone in their life is telling them, I am saying that because that's something that I resonate with deeply, and I know that maybe my audience, members of my audience do as well or does as well. Like they also resonate with that, and I am kind of like a guide, or I am like a voice for them that they can relate to and feel heard and feel like welcome around. And that's where a lot of people get it wrong, or I think a lot of people lose themselves or lose their work because they are afraid of having an opinion. They're afraid of being too specific. They're afraid of, I'm going to say this and someone's going to disagree. Where like that's actually the point where all the value comes and where your best work will be created. When you start making things that you yourself want to see and you yourself want to consume, you over time will inevitably build an audience, build a community, and build a portfolio, so to speak, of work that you are just immensely proud of. And it's not like all the business side of things just click all of a sudden, but when you have zero friction between what you want to create and what you're actually creating, or at least that like there's a very strong, healthy relationship between the two, things will start to work out for you. When I took a 180 with my content and went from like the business style content I was going to and the self-help stuff to just making work that I wanted to create and being intentional with telling stories through my content and showing the world that like I can do that, opportunities started arising for me. And the same thing with like, the community I was building and the friends I was making online. When I started talking about my beliefs and things I wanted to do, when I was passionate about, I was able to be connected and build friends and relationships with others in a space that aligned with that. And through that, opportunities arose. So it's not like, from a business standpoint, like you just do it and it's like, oh, click, boom, done, over, whatever. But it puts you on the path where those types of things do happen and those opportunities can happen. You have to like allow yourself the opportunities to be presented with the opportunities, if that makes sense. So how do you even do this? Because I know that this is easier said than done. And as someone who I'm sure we are similar, I need direction. Like I need specific, at the very least, like some sort of specific tangible advice to act on. I'm sure that would probably be helpful to you. So like step one would be to just challenge yourself to create something simply for you with zero expectation of outcome. For me, also like not posting it online. Like for me, something like this is like shooting film. Like I've been shooting a lot of film. Sure, it's just like a Canon SureShot point and shoot. Like it's literally an $80 film camera. But doing that more often and just taking pictures and capturing moments simply for the sake of doing it because it's fun has been immensely helpful for my creativity as a whole, my motivation and inspiration as a whole. The general idea there is to have more tools that inspire creativity and allow you to bring more of yourself into your work. A lot of times when our content doesn't feel like us anymore, it's because we're afraid or for some reason we're not including enough of ourselves in our content and we're like putting, or our, whatever, art, creative work, content, whatever, and we're not putting enough of it in our work and so that it doesn't give us enough to hold on to. That's kind of like the paradox of this whole content thing is like we are afraid of being too specific because we think it won't speak to enough people. Like our art won't speak to enough people if we get too into the weeds of our beliefs and our interests and our hobbies. But by not doing that, we're actually not speaking to anybody because when we're super general with what we make, our work won't feel like us. And since it doesn't feel like us, it won't feel like anyone because there's nothing to it. Like there's no substance to it. And so when you start introducing things that make you you and maybe showcasing different interests you have or like your design choice or being really creative with your branding and your mission, your messaging, all that makes it more you, which in turn allows other people to relate to it more. I know that that's very wordy, but I hope that makes sense in the sense of by being specific, you're actually opening the door to building a real community where if you're not specific, you're not, again, creating that platform and giving yourself the opportunity to do that. So I guess step one of finding your voice or making things that feel like you again would be do something without the intention of an outcome of, whether it's posting it, whether it's sharing it, do something simply for you. Step two of this, or the other option or another thing you can do, is to try removing the filter of your ideas. For me, when I was in my era of business content, or at least in my era of highly comparative content where I was just making stuff that other people were making, I had this filter without even realizing it where I would think of an idea, which is probably objectively a good idea for a video that I knew is cool, but then immediately I would put this filter on it of, oh, well, that doesn't fit my brand, or, oh, so-and-so wouldn't make that, so I should make it, or, oh, this doesn't align with my business or something, so I shouldn't make it. And I would shoot down so many ideas because of this abstract filter that I just put in my brain from over-consuming and being over-influenced by others online. Obviously, with all things that I say, this comes in moderation. There should be some intention and some sort of brand filter if you want to make content more of a career, or at least your creative art as a career, right? You don't hear about all of the hobbies that Picasso had, or you don't hear about all the hobbies that Kid Cudi has, Tyler the Creator, right? Or these artists, right, that we look up to as these figureheads and these creative geniuses. Everything they create is everything they touch is just gold. They are intentional with what they share. So what I'm saying is not to just every idea you have, just throw it out there, but at least give every idea an opportunity to come to life because you never know what direction it could take and you never know what it could do for you in your creativity. So don't just shoot ideas down. Give every idea the opportunity to, be something more than just an idea. One more bonus tip, I think, because this is probably relates more to content creators, which if you're watching this, there's a good chance that that's something you want to be or you are or whatever. But I think it can still be, the principle of it can be applied to any creative, is find tools and use tools that allow you to do things that others are not doing or you otherwise would not be able to do. Another wordy line. But essentially what I'm getting at is find ways to create that you don't see online or that are unique or maybe aren't as popular. For example, camera sliders, right? With short form content in my realm of Instagram, not a lot of people are putting in the effort to like use a camera slider. If you don't know what a camera slider is, it's literally like a track that moves your camera. So you can get like really cool dynamic camera movements. It's not common because it requires a lot of effort. So people don't usually use them. However, that's an opportunity to be different, to stand out and make things that are unique to you, that can influence your own style and in turn make content that feels like you. Another reason why people make content or people's content or people's work doesn't feel like their creative work is because it's overly influenced by others and they're not giving themselves the opportunity to create a visual style that's unique to them because they've just been so, you've been so overfed content. That's why everything kind of looks the same these days because everyone's watching the same thing, so they're creating the same thing. So do things that allow you to create different things. I have a printer right here. Shout out Epson. They sent me a printer, but I've used that in multiple videos to do more of like a mixed media type of deal, right? Like introducing more analog stuff. Like I have this cassette player, right, that I've used in some videos. It's cool. It's like analog. Like I love it. Like I have a typewriter here that I've used in some videos. I personally have just become more obsessed with like analog stuff. So for example, Field Notes. I love this brand. If anyone from Field Notes is watching, hit me up, please. But like writing ideas down rather than typing them. Like I love the like organized, busy look of my office and my space, and all of those things have helped me craft my style by maybe not even being like not consuming content or not being influenced, but being very intentional with who I'm being influenced by. So if it's you, like what type of vibe do you want your creations to give off? What's like the world that you're building, and find creatives or find work or inspirations that align with that and see what you could, pull and combine that's unique to you. Everyone's seeing the same content. Everything feels the same nowadays. And so it's like, what can you do? What tools can you acquire? What things can you include in your creations that are unique, that you don't see often? Because that's going to be a very big, differentiator when it comes to standing out and making work that feels like you. Like, it's so easy to come into the space and think it's so easy to do this. And like, this isn't me saying that it's not possible, because obviously it is. Like, I am an example of someone who, worked their ass off, and just through sheer effort and persistence, it paid off. But like, you have to put in the effort of like finding your voice. Just copying someone isn't going to get you there. It'll help you start, but it's not going to get you where you're actually going to probably trying to go. So that is like my final piece of advice here, is just do the extra work and be intentional with finding your voice and your style. And I promise you that your work will begin to feel like your own again. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. I just moved into this new office space. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen this. Also, my neck is like messed up. That's why I keep like full turning. But I need to fill up this shelf. This shelf is like massive. It literally goes here all the way to here. Shout out IKEA. And I need to put some stuff on it. So if you guys have any ideas for decor for this, let me know, because I need more than just IKEA to decorate my office. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.